Now, two political stakeholders in Rivers State, George Ariolu and Malboye Nangi, joins us live from Port Harcourt for this conversation as regards this development. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time on the news. I'm going to start off with you, Mr. Nangi. Do you see Fubara's withdrawal as a deliberate sacrifice for peace in Rivers State, or a sign that, political pressure outweighed his ambition?
I think there's nothing like pressure here. There's no pressure. The governor has never been very truthful to people in the state. Those of us who are his, ardent supporters, the governor deceived a lot of us. He went into a lot of agreements, with his boss and refused to let us, details into that so-called agreement. And it is the agreement that is playing out because they forced him, to live by the agreement. He had about 4 to 5 agreements that he came lying to the people of Rivers State. I knew, I withdrew from the governor the day I knew that he had, agreed not to run. He earlier also agreed that he was going to do everything. And that's why I think I make bold to say that it's been the major concern or the major issue why we've been having a lot of political embroidery in the state. So for me, the governor is not, it's not a surprise to me. I know that he wasn't going to run. I know he wasn't going to be on the ballots. He was just deceiving his followers. So yesterday he had whatever they call it, a stakeholders meeting where, stories were told to people. Nobody should be emotional because the governor thinks about himself and himself alone. And that's what it is. Unfortunately, it's just so. So I think it's also good because we're all going to have, let's give a big sigh of relief for him not to run again, because I wouldn't have supported him. I think Rivers people should not support a man like this anymore, because why would you go into agreements that you know that you have agreed something that is wrong, and you come to tell Rivers people and take us to the streets, to do all sorts of stuff, create enemies, and you live your life, you go back to doing things. So nobody forced the governor. There was no pressure anywhere. The governor is just coming back to reality that this is what he agreed yesterday.
All right, let me come to you now, Mr. Ariolu. Does Fubara's withdrawal confirm that, his influence, especially within the APC structure, was overstated from the beginning?
Well, let me agree with you on your statement concerning the overrating of his political foundation in Rivers State. Like my colleague just said, the entire problem centers on not being truthful first and foremost to yourself and then your followers. And aside your followers politically, you are the governor of a state, ruling every member of any other political party and those that are political. There is the need for sincerity of purpose in every leader. And that is what he has not done. That is what he has not done. If you follow the trajectory of the political development in Rivers State in recent time, you will understand in the entirety how this development came to be. The governor was at loggerhead with the assembly, which ordinarily is not supposed to. And that dragged on until he went to court. The matter dragged on to the Supreme Court. And at that point in time, the assembly was to impeach him before the intervention of Mr. President. And he agreed that he should not be impeached, that he should be allowed to do this remaining tenure and then he won't come back. He came back and kept quiet. He did not explain this circumstance, at least to his followers. We're not talking about the entire state now. And then his followers were fed with these lies and make-believe that it will get better. Even till this moment, some of them do not believe that the governor himself has made this statement. It's as that bad. And then we didn't get it right in him as a person. because you speak truth to power. That is what it's supposed to be. So for me, in the whole of this circumstance, I don't see it as a withdrawal. Nobody even knows whether he even picked the form in the first place. That information is not very clear. Whether he personally submitted the form to run, vis-a-vis the information on ground that he promised before Mr. President that he wasn't going to run for a second term. Nobody knows that. But for me, in all my calculations about this development, is the fact that even if he had made up his mind to run, if you follow, like I said, the political trajectory in recent political development in the state, I would say he saw defeat.
All right.
It was very glaring that if he had made up his mind to run, he would have been roundly and soundly defeated in the primaries. And that would be a bigger shame.
Permit me to butt in there, Mr. Ariolo, but this your statement here now even makes me want to even ask, of course, will buttress my next question to Mr. Nangi. Do you think that perhaps Mr. Fubara is withdrawing from the primaries at this point in time simply because he understands or he feels he's not going to win, not necessarily because there has been some agreement somewhere that he shouldn't go for a second term?
Okay, so very, very simply, I think it's not like that. Basically, what happened is the governor knew that he wasn't going to run, and he now became friends with some gang of other governors, especially the Imo State governor, who has been taking him around everywhere to try to abrogate whatever law or whatever agreement that he had gone into. And they tried and they met a brick wall. So when he saw that he wasn't going to see anything, it wasn't making any sense anymore. That's why he just had to come back to reality. He tried his best, that look, the facade of, wanting to still run, knowing that he agreed with the president before the president that he wasn't going to run. And so for me, I think the governor is really not truthful to all of us. Some of us regret ever supporting him. Somebody like me, my life is at stake. A lot of things happen to a lot of us. And, this is a man that's got everything up his sleeve, for selfish reasons or for personal gains. He thinks about himself and himself alone. And that's what is going on. So there's no regrets, no emotion, there's nothing. I don't want to use certain, rude words here, but this is just the best thing that has happened to Rivers people, that the governor is not running again. Because if Ijaw people, like I said, I'm the Secretary General of Ijaw Youth Council, and I've gone through a lot of fights because of him. And if Ijaw people actually would want an Ijaw governor, it's not this type of Ijaw man that would push tomorrow. So it's not that he saw defeat. He met brick wall for trying to abrogate what he had earlier agreed on. And let me tell you this. Those whom he had agreed, there's an agreement again that he was going to work for them. He agreed with the president that he's going to work for the candidate that will come up, but he's going to scuttle that plan. He's going to do things to stymie whatever plans that and they should watch him, because he's good at doing things. He's good at not keeping to agreements. So they should watch. Would still go through the back door to want to, scuttle the plans of what he had also agreed with the president. So whatever thing that they say, he's stepping down, or so, he didn't step down. He met brick wall. And that's what it is, to say the truth.
All right, Mr. Ariolo, what does this tell us about Fubara's image at this point in time? Being that he has withdrawn from the governorship race, would you call him a unifier, or does this, affect or weaken his political relevance?
You see, the problem I have sometimes when we make commentaries is us forgetting history. Where issues, the index, the platform upon which certain matters arise. How did Fubara become a governor? How did he become? And like my dear brother is explaining, he left the structure that made him a governor. He would have had a seamless second tenure with that structural arrangement. But what did he do? He wasn't up to 3 months in office. He turned around to start fighting that same structure. and started making friends with people who needed to, he's been elected, opposed his governorship. How do you think the advice of such people will lead you into anything positive? Like my brother has said, a lot of them came in and deceived him. They deceived him. He played into their hands. And the reward is what we are seeing now. And you ask yourself, those people that we are singing his praises yesterday, keep fighting, fight the structure, destroy the structure. Where are they now that the chiefs are down? Where are they? Where are they? The public commentators, where are they? The tribal bigots, where are they? So it is what a man sees when you fail not to use your head as an intelligent fellow who is occupying such a highly exalted position to follow issues. That is where we'll get it. You get it from the base. But I still stand on what I said, whether it is brick wall or it's block wall, that is on his own. But the man has seen defeat. If you follow the events flowing through the primaries so far conducted by APC, you want to ask yourself, given that circumstance, can Fubara make any headway of becoming a candidate? The answer is capital no. Can Tonye Cole make a headway when such a primary is held and then he is an aspirant? The answer is no. So for me, that is seeing defeat in advance. And instead of you to stand out to face the shame of a sitting governor being trounced in a primary, I think he has seen it as a noble thing to say he's withdrawing. He has seen defeat, he's not withdrawing, because we don't even see him as an aspirant. But he's just using that one as usual in its usual ploy of wanting to, gloss over or sugarcoat, words and put circumstances the way they are not. For me, I keep telling people that Fubara is the architect of his misfortune. There's an adage in my place that any day the lizard leaves the body of the tree, the hands of the enemies will catch it. That is what he's reaping from.
Mr. Ariolu, you made quite an interesting statement. You said that the structure that brought Fubara, when he got in there months afterwards, he seemed to be fighting against that particular structure. But shouldn't that be the case for a governor in a situation where, we've talked about it, some people have said that, these are the issues with Nigerian politics when it comes to godfatherism. It looked like Fubara was not free to actually run the state like he should. So my question now is, are we saying that no matter the structure you come into power, you must stick to that structure even when it doesn't allow you to have a free will as a governor?
See, Mr. Moderator, you see, we model a lot of issues and then we'll confuse people in the way they should understand certain issues. What is the issue of godfatherism? Do you know the foundation of Governor Fubara before he became governor? You see, in every political system, not just in Nigeria alone, even in the US, people sit together. What's the elementary definition of politics? People with the same political ideology coming together with the purpose of running an election, winning and controlling government. People must get involved to lift somebody to occupy a position. I'm surprised that when we talk about these things, it's like a rocket science, something that flows in out of the blues. It is not. That is how the system flows. That is how it rolls. Do you know what Wike went through because he brought Fubara? These same Rivers people were asking, why will you bring somebody that is not known to us? Who is he? To the point, Wike was accused that Fubara is his sister's son. That is an Ikwere man. He took all of these bullets in order to lift somebody. And at the end of the day, Nobody's looking at it from that moral perspective. Let's leave politics for what it is. Because people say politics is a dirty game. You look at it from that foundation. I was a sitting local government chairman when that election was conducted. My local government, Obiako, produced the highest result for him. What did you get at the end of the day? Leave rcae out of it. The whole chairman that helped to run that election and made him win, how did he treat them afterwards? Nobody's looking at that perspective. But I tell you one thing. If you have come out as a leader, more so occupying such important position as a governor, you cannot say anybody's frustrating you. In the first place, do they stop your allocation from coming to you? The answer is no. Did they stop you from holding your state executive council meeting? Where you meet, you plan out your programs and your projects. The answer is no. Did anybody stop him? Did he go to anywhere to cite a project and they say they chased him away? The answer is no. But you see this system, if you don't know it, you don't know it. There's what is called politicking. There's what is called governance. They are not related. The moment you're elected, you face governance. Maybe 1 year or 6 months into the end of your tenure, you cannot delve into politicking. Because the moment you leave politics, you leave governance and delve into the game of politicking, you must definitely be distracted. No matter how focused you are.
All right, let me come to you now, Mr. Let me come to you now, Mr. Nangi.
The governor found himself in.
Mr. Ariola, apologies, but I have to just butt in here. That's because we need to wrap up this conversation pretty soon. But let me come to you now, Mr. Nangi. I know you've said it right now that you do not support similar Fubara at this point in time. But what should his supporters be doing right now? Should they be trying to defend his decision, publicly, or focus on preserving his political career?
Well, it's not my case to suggest to his supporters to do whatever they want to do. But the point is, we have a governor who is not truthful to himself, who thinks about himself alone, a governor who really do not care about the people or even the feelings of his supporters, those who follow him. A governor who would go into an agreement during the day or in the night and, talk to somebody else, a governor who has surrounded himself with kindergartens in politics, and they will come up with very, some meretricious, salacious lies around, push him here and there. You can imagine, just look at governor bought funds for assembly members, and you can imagine the category of people that he gave funds to. That tells you how the governor has been cowed, gagged, pushed, to doing things. And that's the sort of people he has surrounded himself with. That's the type of advice. A governor whom I have not seen any kind of a very tact or depth kind of, no crack team, no think tank around the government, just people who come around to yo-yo around or something. So I don't think the governor really was a serious person. I'm happy that his tenure ends in 2027, and we're going to have a breather, a new government in place, because I don't like it that you go into an agreement and you want to flood that agreement. Why did you go into the agreement first? There was a precondition for making him governor. There was a precondition for choosing him over other people that ran for that office. He was about one of the least qualified to run as governor. And they gave him a lot of conditions. And because he wanted to become governor, he accepted all of that. And at the end of the day, he said no to them. And people still came out to want to fight for him. He won the war, but at the end of the day, he caved in. He went back again, agreed to other things because he still wanted to remain as governor. Came back, did not tell his followers. So what do you expect the followers to do? I wouldn't suggest to them, but I think as adults, they should use their tongue to count their teeth. But I used to be his follower, his supporter, but I moved on when I found out that he had gone ahead to agree again not to contest and came back and did not tell Rivers people what actually transpired. Even the so-called interloper government that I called that the sole administratorship, during that period, a lot of agreements were reached. And the governor agreed that he wasn't going to run for second term. Rivers people's monies in billions were spent. because the governor was going into, like in oil and gas exploration, when people say they are going for frontier fields, going to look for oil somewhere around Maiduguri and all that. That was what the governor went into doing, going to search for governorship in places where it would never come. Besides that, whereas you've agreed yesterday that you weren't going to run and you spent Rivers people's money buying forms, bribing people, and other governors in the name of, so-called progressive governors, coming to tell you all sort of gibberish and all that. I think for me, I don't want to say it's good riddance to bad rubbish, but maybe you're pushing me to say all that today. So I don't want to get too emotional about this because I understand. I knew it was going to come to this day, and I was just expecting it to happen. I told a lot of them they would be truthful, so they will come. So there's no emotions here. Nothing. We're just going to move on. Nothing is happening. There's no governance in Rivers State. And that's because the governor had agreed that such a thing should also go on. He's doing nothing. There is nothing happening. No politics. Nothing is going on. So what type of state are we in? Let's give room to other people to come in. Let's try them.
All right, I have been having a conversation with Mr. George Ariolu and Malboye Nangi. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time, for coming on the news.